certificated. So those that are not certificated, I don't know who caught the questions at the bottom of one of the slides. I deliberately ignored it. I didn't say anything. When I talked about certification earlier on, where we listed the dispatchers, the cabin, the pilots, the air traffic controllers. Who caught that question at the end? Anybody? Nobody. The question was, what about if the aircraft is not certificated? I put almost 3 question marks at the end of it. What about if the aircraft is not certificated? So it's food for thought. So here, in general aviation, we have a lot of other operations by aircraft that are not certificated. So, I don't know, this is so tiny. I don't know if it can. So, okay. We have here, this is civil aviation, the civil aviation authorities, general. So from here, you come down, you have general aviation here, right? If you come down here, you will see flight instruction, you have other flying, and you come here, you will see pleasure flying. This is primarily what directly general aviation. Now, what happens to this area? This area here, you know, it takes a branch also from general aviation. You see it as aerial work. You see agriculture, photography, observation and patrol, aerial advertisement, construction, surveying, search and rescue, and other aerial work. Now, why is it here? Remember, in our definition, we say other general aviation is non-commercial operations and aerial work. So aerial work is not supposed to be. So the meaning is any aerial work here that is not commercial, any aerial work you do that is non-commercial, it is also what? It is also what? General aviation. So all this can come to general aviation as long as you are not doing any of this as a commercial operation. So these are the different types. You can see, you know, there are many. Everyone you see flying anything in this world, whether it is A380 or is flying the police helicopter or is flying a fighter plane, is trained by a what? By a flying instructor. So that's a very huge aspect of general aviation. How many flying schools do we have in this country? Anybody? We have Nigeria Nigeria College of Aviation Technology in Zaria. We have International Aviation College in Ilorin. We have International Helicopter School in Enugu. And where else? Where else? We have private flyers also in Kaduna. And so you can see in general aviation, we are lagging behind. How many people go abroad to train as pilots? So many, because we have very few of them. And how many millions are Nigerians? 200 plus, right? 200 plus million. So 4 schools is grossly inadequate. So those of you who are investors, so begin to think. And what about pleasure flying? I believe that if there is anyone who sets up something that can be maybe a flying club around here that will be taking people for sightseeing along the coast. I'm sure it's going to thrive, right? So these are opportunities that are there for us to explore. So what are the different careers in general aviation? They use aircraft for firefighting, right? Aerial application. Like I mentioned, somebody will say, why are you confusing us? You know, aerial application again. So, like I mentioned to you, once it is not for commercial purpose, it is what? General aviation. Aerial photography, business jets, that is private business or corporate business jets. They are all general aviation. Flight instruction, I just elaborated on that. These are different careers you can, pathway you can take in general aviation. There are pipelines, patrols. Not only that, all these other minerals exploration that drone is almost taking over now is done by general aviation before. Skydiving operation, that's pleasure, isn't it? We don't have that in this country. Glider towing, banner towing, and etc. and etc. All other forms of recreational and pleasure flying, these are all general aviation operations. So in conclusion, I want to give you 1 minute to just read this. Okay, I'm sure you finish reading it. Do you agree with this statement? Do you agree? So that means we need to do something. Somebody was walking along a certain street. So he now came across a garbage, a garbage heap. He brought out his handkerchief and closed his nose, and left. He still left the garbage there. Another person was walking this same route. He came across that same garbage. Immediately his head spin. Wow, this is free of charge. I can sort out these things and I will still be able to recycle some things and I can make money. Now, what is the difference between these two people? Same human beings, same situation. What is the difference? The first person saw problems and added his own to it. And it didn't help him. But the other person saw opportunities and was able to. What do you think will happen to the second person? Immediately, he will call here, set up this recycling, set up this sorting, and he may even get up to 3-4 different products from this garbage. So, as we think about what we have had, I don't know what you are seeing. Are you the first person or the second person? Please. General aviation in Nigeria can only be developed by Nigerians and no other. Is that true? Nobody can come and do anything for us. Nobody. Because everybody likes to do it in his own place, in his own country. So it can only be done by Nigerians. Will you be part of it? These are some of our sources. Any questions? Thank you. just a short video as the next person comes.
Okay, he's unable to play. So that's it, displaying. Please have your seat. So you want to say something about the video while it's playing? It's self-explanatory. All right. Please, once again, let's put our hands together for our first speaker. Thank you very much. If you're just joining us, we just listened to Captain Wilson Mekano Tijo from NCAA, and he's just spoken about what to know about general aviation. Another round of applause for him, please. Thank you. Thank you. So my name is Osaji Valentine. I'm going to remain your host for today. And if you have any questions, if there are any questions, I'd like you to just noted. I'd like you to just put your questions down. I would like to take them all together, both the first speaker and the second speaker. Moving on with the event for today, we'll be taking our second lecture from with the topic, What to Know About Part 21, an NCAA document. We'll make welcome Captain Olushina Akinsete. Put your hands together for him as he makes his way to the stage. Captain Olushina Akinsete. He'll be talking about what to know about Part 21.
Good afternoon, everybody, and all protocols observed. I'd like to say thank you too for being present today to see what we have to talk about drones. The topic is what to know about Part 21. I am Captain Olushina Akishete, Flight Operations Inspector with the Lagos UAS Integration Unit. We'll talk briefly about the aviation regulations, what is a law, what is a regulation, and how they are created briefly. I'll try as much as possible to dovetail from the discussions you had with the earlier speaker. He's mentioned quite a lot of things. Aviation regulations and laws. The Civil Aviation Organization, in accordance with Article 37 of the Convention of International Civil Aviation, I won't go too much on that, sets up the standard and recommended practices, which was referred to by the earlier speaker. That is, the ICAO cannot enforce you, but they'll give you recommendations to standardize things so that within the countries, there's a smooth transition and operation. Aviation regulations. The federal government of Nigeria is responsible for safe, secure, and efficient air navigation services in Nigeria. It's controlled airspace. Changing air traffic volume and complexity, new and emerging technologies and other factors may require amendments to ICAO SAPs or Nigerian policies or procedures. In this case, the new and evolving technology will be the drone. The drone has been with us for quite a long time, a lot longer than we ever think, in different forms. I like to think that the drone started far, far back, and people who played a big part in the drone were the Chinese. They had kites, which were used for making signals during the old war times. So the military too plays a big part in development of almost all things. So the drone has been with us for a while in different forms. You wonder why a kite is similar to a drone. It's an air device, and nowadays too we have what they call Tecx drones. Those are drones that are tied to the ground. It's like the remote control which we have now, and in the olden days the remote control used to have a cable from the television. So that's the similarity. Under this, ICAO saw this coming up, and they sent some information out, like they always do, because Nigeria is an agreed member of ICAO. Now, what is law? Definition of what a law is. The systems of rules which a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the action of its members, which it may enforce by imposition of penalties. These are the other key things. It's enacted by a legislative body and purpose to establish broad principles and guidelines for society. Enforcement of a law is by courts and law enforcement agencies. An example could be the environmental law and other laws which we've had. The key thing to know here is that it's established by a legislative body, laws. The difference between laws and regulations. Laws and regulations are both sets of rules that governs conduct, but differ in their origin and enforcement. Laws are formal rules enacted by legislative bodies, which regulations are specific instructions created by executive agencies, of which, in this case, we're looking at the NCA, executive agencies, to implement or clarify laws. In essence, laws set the broad framework and regulations provide details on how to comply with that framework. What are regulations itself? An authoritative rule dealing with details or procedural safety, the word safety, a rule or order issued by an executive authority, not legislative now, we're talking about executive authority or regulatory agency or a government, and having the force of law. The regulations have the force of law from the legislators backing it. Like in Nigeria now, the NCA is the sole regulator in aviation. It supports the implementation of this law, and it explains the guidelines to final details. Origins of regulations are created by agencies. Purpose provides specific details on how to implement or enforce laws. Enforcement, regulatory agencies, and sometimes courts. You notice in this one, it did not talk of courts as principle. The regulatory agency enforces, and sometimes when it goes into breaking a law, we're now starting to talk not only regulation, we're now talking of courts. This Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulator is the NCA, which you are all aware of. Nigerian Civil Aviation Regulations. In order to comply, when Nigerian, I won't go through all the details, but I'll just expatiate on what it means. When we get the SAPs, that is, when it comes that there's a new technology, in this case, not just modification, we're expected to comply. And the focal point for this compliance is Nigerian NCA that coordinates. In this particular case, a new technology, unmanned aerial vehicles have come in, because years ago we did not know that drones are going to be anything like this. Making of regulations. So it's not just things that are thought out. There's a proper process for doing it, and that falls with the NCA. And it takes into consideration the new regulation, amendments, analysis of safety, the economic impact, the operational and sometimes security factors are required to determine the broad-reaching changes across the air transport. Because you can see the drones now, apart from being in the aviation industry, there are security implications as well, serious security implications. There have been cases of people flying, not here, but in other places, flying drugs across the border using drones. There have been cases of people actually flying drugs and things into the prison yards in some advanced countries. So there's a security implication. All this is taken into consideration, although most of the security aspects